I first and foremost just grateful to God that my husband was just rock solid. I think if my husband had shown even a fraction of apprehension, fear, anything, I probably would have come apart.
Myron Gaines destroys Babylon. Stop scrolling. Candace Owens and Myron Gaines are ripping the curtain off the system and handing out truth like wildfire. This isn't feel-good noise, it's a raw wake-up call for anyone sick of being lied to by the elites. If you want to escape Babylon's control and hear the unfiltered reality, you're in the right place. Hit like if you're done with the narrative, subscribe, and join the Based crew. We're not apologizing for waking people up.
When we talked about Jews, we hit the sound effect, the cha-ching sound effect, and that, I guess, that infuriated Ben Shapiro. Is that true, or?
I know where that leak came from.
Okay.
And it came, gosh, am I allowed to say anything about this? She no longer works for the Daily Wire, and I think she was behind that leak. Yeah, so she no longer works for the Daily Wire. So that was interesting. I can neither confirm or deny whether or not that is true.
Okay.
But what I will say is I would have never expected that sort of a PR. I mean, it's just the opposite of the way that I am. I mean, I've worked with several companies. I've worked with PragerU. I have obviously a lot of disagreements with them now, but I had a very peaceful working relationship with them. They treated me fantastically. I've said this 1,000 times. Like, what I think about them now and what their contributions are to what we're fighting, I could never go back and say like one bad word about how they treated me. They were really good employers and very communicative. If I ever had an issue, I mean, I think my contract with PragerU was like 2 pages. I'm not even kidding. It was crazy. Marissa never even wanted to talk about contracts. She's like, if we ever have to talk about the contract, she was like, you should probably leave because like I don't want you here if you're not happy.
Yeah.
Obviously had a very great relationship with Charlie Kirk, Turning Point USA. So for me, having never had any sort of a debacle ever in my life, in terms of working for people, it was new, it was global, there was so much happening, and I didn't know if we were going to survive it. Genuinely, my husband and I, it felt like it's like trench warfare. Your every move, you're not even thinking about the implications. It's like, I just have to put one foot in front of the other and fight. And I first and foremost just grateful to God that my husband was just rock solid. I think if my husband had shown even a fraction of apprehension, fear, anything, I probably would have come apart. And this again gets back to the importance of marriage, because there are things that men are designed to deal with. Women are designed, like I was good on the psychology games of what they were trying to do, but in terms of just getting down and building the infrastructure and like, okay, we need to rebuild the podcast. We got to do this. We got to figure this out. We laugh now. I mean, even because my team came with me, which was something that was also a huge blessing. I'm so grateful to my team, because I went to them and I was like, I don't know if this is going to work. We can't offer you health insurance. We have nothing. So if you leave the comfort of where you are taking a risk.
Yeah. And
we don't know where this thing is going to end. And also we're like being banned from society also. Yeah. So the chances of this podcast working when we're banned from everywhere,
exactly.
Even YouTube demonetized us. It was slim to none. And they were just like, we're coming with you. So to look back on that, it's just a tremendous amount of gratitude and appreciation for the audience, my team, and first and foremost, my husband,
So he helped you through that process. Because I remember like it was all over the place, and obviously there was an enormous amount of pressure, but you were able to use that to your favor. You get let go from Daily Wire, you start up your own thing. And, obviously this topic is a very controversial topic when it comes to Zionism, Jewish power, and these other things. And it led to some things. What red pilled you on this topic that made you say, I got to speak up? Even though this is a very taboo topic, you can get, like you said, deal with demonetization, cancellation.
This scene slashes the script. In this clip, it's and the guests rip at Babylon's Veil. It's and the guests refuse cancellation. It's and the guests call out taboo power structures and controversial topics like Zionism. The host asks what flipped the switch. What made the guest risk demonetization to speak up? It's and the guest trace being pushed out of a mainstream platform. It's and the guests show how pressure turned into fuel. Stay with this. Back to the clip.
Losing an employer. What made you say, I got to speak up on this?
I want to get into heaven. And I think people don't realize that that's real. Like, I think people who are atheists don't understand that a part of this whole psych operation was to make you an atheist. Because if you knew for certain that when you die, there is more, which there is, you would be living your life differently. right? I want to get into heaven. And so at the very moment that I know anything is true, I can't tell a lie, right? So when I was working and giving the example again for PragerU, I genuinely, first off, wasn't up on the topic of Israel. It wasn't kind of a common discussion. There was no pressure on me to get out there and say things that are pro-Israel. I just genuinely believed it in the same way that I tell people Charlie Kirk just believed it. There's no conspiracy. He just was like, yeah, Israel, I'm a Christian. And obviously Israel has biblical connotations. And so I support Israel almost like it's a periphery.
Yeah, it's like
in
a default setting.
Yeah,
when
it's
you're
a
in the
default setting. Yeah.
Literally, yeah. In
It's
the
a factory
GOP
setting.
Yeah.
And people who attack that and assume that everyone's in on an agenda should stop doing that. At the moment that it kind of became and I would say after October 7th, they were kind of demanding that you take a side. I watched Bassem Youssef. This was truly the mental turning point for me. He went on to Piers Morgan and it went viral. And he held up this paper where he showed how many deaths there were every year of Palestinians versus Israelis. And I will never unsee that. And he was being totally a jackass about it, was just kind of using humor, which is the best tool, and being like, so what's the equation of how many lives are worth? So I'm going, okay, so I'm supposed to believe these are the evil people, but this is how many people. And then I had Norm Finkelstein on my show at the Daily Wire because I was like, let me go to someone who actually is not an anti-Semite, right? His parents survived the Holocaust and he's a professor who was denied tenure for a ridiculous reason because he's committed to telling the truth about Gaza and he wrote so many books on it. And that to me was like, wow.
So that like red pilled you on the topic, like seeing the deaths and everything. Because no one ever sees like the Palestinian perspective because it's like almost like in America, well, especially if you're a conservative, the default setting is we support Israel unequivocally every single time. And you never even hear the other perspective. So, and I've said that too, like October 7th kind of opened up this discussion. Whereas like, I remember before it, like if you talked about it, you would get demonetized, banned. That's what got me demonetized was that topic, especially before October 7th. So you start talking about it. I remember you had debated a rabbi, I can't remember his name.
A couple of them. Rabbi Shmuley, and then there was
that idiot and the other
who
one.
was, oh gosh, I have to remember his name. He was my favorite. Candace.
Yeah,
this is the worst anti-Semitism. He actually was low-key my favorite because he was so over the top.
Oh, yeah.
He was so over the top. And he was like, you can't even say, what was it, witches? Skylar, what was the name of that rabbi? Barclay. Barclay. That was his name.
And I think that was one of your last debates you did on Daily Wire too. I think you were still on the Daily Wire there. Did Ben ever like have a conversation with you about this? If you could disclose it, like
no.
he just like never talked to you in person about this. He just like trashed you. Because I remember seeing a clip of him like at some type of social gathering, like late in the year of that year, saying, "Oh yeah, I think what she's doing."
They'll try to silence this, demonetize, ban, scrub the truth. But Candace Owens and Myron Gaines keep lighting the match. If that fired you up, slam that like button, subscribe, and drop your take in the comments. Tell us which part shook you, tag someone who needs to see this, and share the clip so the truth spreads past their filters. We're building a community that escapes Babylon together, so turn on notifications and stay ready. More red-pilled content is coming and you won't want to miss it.